Well, I hope you're all doing great today. I'm going to talk a little bit about creativity and organization. If you're creative, it's critically important to stay organized, far more important than it is for a normal person. And I'll tell you why this is important. And then I'll show you how I stay on top of the flood of ideas that are constantly tumbling out of my brain. And this is something that I think is true for writers, for painters, for photographers, for people who create online content, really anybody whose mind is just churning all the time and who's having ideas all the time. So, first question is, why is it important to be organized? If you're like me, you're dealing with a lot of information on a wide range of different topics. So much information that it's difficult to remember it all, and so many different topics that it's easy to lose one important idea in the flood of other unrelated ideas. And once that happens, a really good idea might be lost or muddled. And even if you write it down, if you don't know where to find it later, you might never see it or think about it again, which is just as bad as not capturing it in the first place. Likewise, if you're dealing with complex topics like novels, nonfiction books, series, movie scripts, and other large, complicated projects, you're going to have a massive amount of supporting information that isn't actually part of the final product, but is just as important to keep track of. I need to stay on top of that or I'll get lost in my own notes. And in a pile that big, a single short video idea, character sketch, or the perfect line of dialogue can easily get lost in all the noise. So after years of writing, I've learned I have to stay organized. Trust me, this is important. Keep up with it or else you lose important ideas and you might even lose your mind. Yes, being organized is good for mental health. In my case, simply keeping my creative ideas organized significantly reduces my anxiety and helps me with depression. Hopefully, at this point, you see how important it is to capture and organize your ideas. So, here's how I do it. The first step is idea capture. Just write it down somewhere. For me, my phone is almost always with me, so that's my go to tool for the initial capture. And I can talk much faster than I can type, especially thumb typing. So when I can, I usually dictate the idea instead of typing it. I've found that for myself, the Notes app on my phone has the most clear and reliable dictation function. Now, these days, almost every piece of software and almost every device has dictation. It's easy to find. But in my case, I've found that many of these are slow and can't keep up with how fast I talk. Mind you, I'm from Colorado, so I talk to a Midwestern pace. This is not some East Coast breathless rush that's coming out of me. It's just normal conversational English, and most dictation software can't keep up with that, which is kind of sad. It's come a long way, but it's still not there. I also find that voice to text tools routinely get words and phrases wrong. And not just a little bit wrong, but so far off that when I go back and look at a note later, I can't even reconstruct what I said. It'll insert the most random nonsense I've ever seen, even when I was speaking very clearly. It drives me crazy. But the Notes app doesn't seem to have either of these problems. It almost always keeps up in real time, and it's at least 90 to 95% accurate. And that accuracy is really important because if I don't have time to double check right away, it might be days or weeks before I look at that note again. And if something's messed up and it's not clear to me what I was originally saying, the idea is just as gone as if I didn't write it down in the first place. That brings me to step two, which is to do a quick cleanup, preferably right away, right after you capture the idea. And if not, then try to get to it later in the day. And that's just a quick read to make sure you understand the note, to fix any mistakes, and to fill in anything that you left out. Usually, this is just a quick check, 30 seconds, whatever. Sometimes I do a deeper edit, adding substantially more content or rewriting something that was really choppy or felt wrong. But because for me, editing on my phone is a lot slower than editing on the computer, I usually just do a quick check and then don't do any big edits until I transfer it. And that brings us to step three, and that is capturing the note. I also like to think of this as moving it to my second brain. And a second brain is a way to capture, organize, and retrieve ideas, inspirations, insights, and connections that you make throughout the day so that you can keep track of them and look at them later. And there are a lot of second brain solutions out there. There's OneNote, which is what I use. There's Notability, Evernote, Obsidian, Roam, and probably 1,000 more. So as much as I like the Notes app on the phone for capturing my thoughts, when it comes to organizing, editing, and retrieving those, its capabilities are very limited. It does support hashtags and folders, but I find that it's very slow. But once it gets 1,000 or more notes in it, it seems to run really slow. It's just not made to that kind of a scale. So, what I do is every couple of days, I copy what I've captured in the Notes app and I drop it into a single OneNote page. I grab the entire note, title, tags, and all, and I drop it into a note called 00 Note Imports. Very creative title. This is basically my ingest page. And on this page, I'll clean up the formatting, I'll correct typos, I try to put dates on each note, and I'll usually give individual ideas a heading to clearly separate them. But at this point, I don't really try to organize them. I just toss them into one file, and it's a big, big, messy pile. And the other thing I do with this, because I don't know when I will have an hour or two to go through and logically start taking those notes and putting them in their final homes, I just drop new notes at the top so they're roughly in reverse chronological order. And if there's a fresh idea that's very important to me, it'll be close to the top so I can quickly find it. And the older ideas tend to be more stale and tend to be less important, so it's okay if they're pushed farther down in the file. Now I can go and find these notes anywhere. Any of my devices will run OneNote, so when I have a free hour, I can move on to step 4. I can also take something more urgent and pull it out from this stack and work on it immediately. That's what I did with this script for this video. I gave it the white glove treatment, same day production. Doesn't that make you feel special? So the last step is to organize that shit. So now that I have a OneNote page with a bunch of random ideas for my phone, I need to do something with it. And these ideas can be chaotic. There might be single bullet points. There might be entire draft essays. There might be videos or scenes for my book. But they all have one thing in common: they're not where they belong. And that simply must be addressed. To most effectively use these ideas later, they need to be grouped with related ideas and stored in a logical place where you'll be able to find them anytime you want to. OneNote offers a notebook and page structure with a good number of formatting options. That's why I like it. I'm told it's not as good as newer tools that have hashtags, easier hyperlinking, keyword indexing, and so forth. But for now, I'm sticking with OneNote because it's simple, I already have years of notes organized in it, and I don't have to pay for yet another overpriced monthly subscription just to use another tool. But any second brain solution will work. So if there's one you're particularly passionate about, tell us about it in the comments. Tell us why you like it, what's good about it, because we're always looking for the best tools. Once an idea is labeled and dated, I'll cut and paste it to whatever final page it's going to live on. If it's an idea for a short, it goes to my YouTube Shorts idea page. If it's an idea about a character, it goes to that character's notes page. Things like YouTube, where there's a wide variety of topics and a number of different stages in the workflow, I have separate workbook sections for each step. One for ideas, one for drafts, one for finished items, with individual pages for bigger ideas, and then collections of little ideas or related topics on a single page. Notes for my books are also broken out with sections for ideas, outlines, characters, world building, and so forth, so that every concept has a place where it lives where I can easily find it again. And for complex multi-part items, I'll break out subpages as needed. So I'll show you some examples. Step 1 is super simple. I have some hashtags for the things that are important. For the Mink and Luna book, when something's been moved over onto step 3, it gets a little done label. New ideas go at the top. I have a writing general topic, so on and so forth. Same kind of thing. I'll just throw things in a file. It becomes done when I've moved it over. If I have a new topic, I just pop that open, give it a label, start talking, capture my idea, blah, 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 so on and so forth, so on and so forth. You get the idea. And then with that, I have a note. I can easily move that over and copy it into the other part of my system. Easy peasy. Here's an example of step 3. I just drop everything in this note imports file. I have a few weeks of notes in here because I haven't had time to go through and organize and reposition a lot of these. Got a conspiracy list. I've got a list of Mid-Journey episode ideas. And these will all get chopped out and put where they are going to live. And I keep my notebooks organized by topic. So under writing, I have a YouTube folder, general channel ideas, ideas for episodes, episodes that are in work. Hey, this one, staying organized. It's right there where it's supposed to be. Then I have one for episodes that have already been recorded so they don't clutter up the rest of the folder. Got the same thing for the Mink and Luna book. I have kind of core concepts, characters, outlines, a world dictionary, and then an area that's just done where there are things I'm not working on anymore. Book I was working on in 2022, same kind of thing, outlines, characters, ideas, little snippets that I've written that haven't quite fit into the manuscript yet. And so everything has a home, and it's pretty easy for me to know where to put something when I think of it, and when I'm ready to work on it, easy for me to know where to go and find it. So with these 4 simple steps, I'm able to quickly capture ideas, reliably store them, and can find them again with a few simple clicks when I'm ready to use them. Capture the idea, clean it up, capture the note in my second brain, and organize that shit. From there, it's good to go. So I hope you found this helpful. And if you enjoyed tips and tricks for writing, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have a good idea for organizing, a tip you'd like to share, definitely drop that in the comment. We'd all love to see that.